is Miss Ajeng from Brighton Junior High School Depok, and welcome to Miss Ajeng class at the mathematics session. In this session, we will learn about introduction of congruency, and without any further ado, so let's get started. Before we start our session today, let's pray together and pray begin. Pray finish. At the end of this chapter, you should be able to examine whether two figures are congruent or similar, state the properties of similar triangles and polygons, make simple scale drawing with the appropriate scales, interpret scales on map, and also solve simple problems involving congruence and similarity. But for today's session, we just only focus on learning objectives number 1.
Let me draw a figure. And we have another figure here. Are these two figures congruent? Well, they look like each other, but the condition for congruency says that these two figures are congruent if one when placed on the other. They both should overlap exactly. If I move this one over the first one, we can see that it overlaps exactly. It means they are congruent figures. Let me draw another figure. And here's another one. The question is, are these two figures congruent? At first, they don't look congruent, but that's the trick. This figure, when placed on this one, will overlap exactly, so they are congruent too. Doesn't matter how they are placed. That's congruency. But let's understand a bit more about congruency. When are two figures congruent? It's simple. They should have the same shape as well as the same size. Say we have a shape like this and another one like this. We can easily see that they are not congruent as they are completely different shapes. Now, look at this shape and this one. We can see that their shape is the same. But wait, the sizes are different, which is why these two figures are also not congruent. But what about these two shapes? They have the same shape as well as the same size. They are congruent figures. But we cannot place a figure on the other to know if they are congruent or not. So, how can we say if two figures are congruent or not? We need to understand a simple concept first. Is it only figures that can be congruent? Consider two segments, segment AB and segment CD. Both measure 3 units. Can we say that they are congruent? Of course, we can. Segment AB is congruent to segment CD. What if we have two angles like this with the same measure? Say, both measure 60 degrees. Yes, these two angles are also congruent. Coming back to our question, when are two figures congruent? Look at these two triangles. When can we say that they are congruent? We can say that these two triangles are congruent if all the matching sides and all the matching angles are congruent. In this chapter, we are going to explore the concept of congruence in terms of how it relates to shape. So the first thing we are going to explore is what is meant by the term of congruent shapes. And so here we see the triangle ABC, and then we have another weird symbol and also triangle DEF. And once again, as you could probably guess, congruent is represented by that symbol. We know that congruent means they have the same shape and also same size. This symbol means is congruent too. for these pictures, we have a triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Notice that the order in which the vertices of DEF are written must correspond to the order in which the vertices of ABC are written, like this. Okay, I'll put some highlighter here. So the vertex of A, that means it corresponds to the vertex of D. And vertex B is correspond to the vertex E. And the last C is correspond to F. So this side AB is correspond with this side DE. And also this side BC is correspond with line segment EF. And the last line CA is correspond with the line segment or side FD. Hence, the corresponding angles and the side of congruent figures are equal. Or we can write the congruent statement like this. The angles and the line segment or side. For the angles of A is congruent to angle of D, and the angle of B is congruent to angle E. Angle C is congruent to angle F. And for the line segment, line AB is congruent with line DE, and line BC is congruent to line EF. Similarly, line CA is congruent to line FD. This is how we write the congruent statement.
Thank you for today. I hope you guys can get something from this video, and if you guys this video is useful for you, don't forget to give a like, sub, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.